Hi everybody, it's me again. As we can see, we have lovely Sam here. Everyone wave at Sam.
Hello.
Sam has been with Integrity now for coming up for 3 years, and to say favourite is maybe not, because everyone thinks, oh, it's not fair. He said that Sam's my favourite. Oh, I thought I was his favourite. It's not about being a favourite, but Sam is one of the stars, one of the up-and-coming stars of Integrity Martial Arts for several reasons, which hopefully you'll find out today. So, welcome, Sam. If you could tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your job and your interests outside of martial arts.
Yeah, sure. So at the minute, I'm working as a chef in a residential home. It's a 20-bed residential home in Wimborne, and I'm one of 2 cooks there. I'm the main cook. I work Monday to Friday, and I've been there for 4 years now. And yeah, no, it's really good. It's a really rewarding job. So I've come from a background of working in restaurants and hotels for about 7 years, and then I swapped over to this sort of side of the industry just for a bit of an easier life and sort of more of a social life, and I can sort of focus on what I want to do and figure out where my head's at and where I want to go and bits and bobs. And it just allows me to do what I want to do.
Did you get your interest from your dad? Because your dad was a chef in the Navy, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. In a way, yeah, because me and my brother, and with my mum included, we all grew up, with good food and being well fed and respecting food in a good way, and nutrition, that sort of thing. And I think that was mainly through Dad. But if I'm being honest, I think he tried to put me off the idea because of the way he knows the industry, which now I know myself after being in there for 7 years. It's a brutal industry, and like my first day at 16 years old, not knowing what I'm doing in the kitchen, having stuff thrown at you and being sworn at and thrown around and stuff like that. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, is that, when you say brutal, I mean, the only way I can envisage that is, like, I've been watching recently the ITV thing with Gino D'Acampo and
yeah, that's right.
And what's his name? Gordon Ramsay and the French fella. I can't remember the French fella's name. But Gordon Ramsay was notorious for shouting and swearing and really bullying all his chefs. Is that kind of the mentality and the environment that you're in?
Yeah, I think it's a very old school kind of traditional mentality, which is starting to die out now, which is great. But I think the trouble is where people like Gordon Ramsay and stuff got their fame from was to be that sort of persona, and then people coming through out of college like I did, or straight into work, they perceive that as the norm. And the trouble with that is you get a load of young chefs who are being bullied around by older seniors, who are either getting scared out of the job and don't want to do it anymore, or it puts people off completely, and they wonder why there's a shortage in chefs and why it's kind of dying out in a way,
Yeah.
And I think it's just part of it is the environment. The long hours, you don't see your family. Anytime anyone's having fun over bank holidays and Christmas and weekends is when you're at your busiest, during the summer. So it's not the most sociable of jobs. So that can maybe impact it, but it's a very old school way of treating your staff. And I only had enough of it after sort of 7 years, but yeah. It's not healthy.
Oh, bless you. So I know you mentioned family there, Sam, and obviously everyone knows your dad, and they know you, that you come and you've graded every single grading. I think you've done together, haven't you? And,
yeah,
and
that's
I
right.
don't think you do it without the other one. So
that's right.
That's a beautiful thing. But I know your family. I know you work with your girlfriend Mel, and obviously you've got your mum and your dad and your brother. But I know also that we share a passion in dogs. I know you've got your dogs, haven't you? Which I know you class as part of your family.
They love the kids.
So what have you got? 2 labs, or is it 2 or 3?
No, we've got a Labrador called Gracie. She's coming up to 3 years old. She's from a working line of Labradors, so her parents are both working dogs. So she's mad as hell. A lot of exercise, a lot of work. She loves to learn new things. She's still, she's really energetic. She's great. And then we've got Kelly, who's a white German Shepherd, who's about 11 now, who's a rescue dog.
Oh.
I've had her for about 6 years now, I think. So she lived with my dad, my mum, and my brother when we were sort of together as a family, and then when I moved out, I took her with me. So she was always kind of my baby. So.
Oh, I know you like running, Sam. Do they ever run with you, or?
I've tried running with Gracie. I've done a couple of park runs with her, but because our pace is quite different, sort of her pace to be able to run in a stride is really, really fast. But at my pace, it's not quite a proper run for her. So she either goes from a very fast walk or a really fast run. So a couple of times we've tried it and it's been all right, but neither of us get out of it what we kind of want to. So we just sort of leave it up to a ball and throw it around with her and teach her some new tricks and stuff instead. So.
I know another passion of yours, Sam, is music, isn't it? And yes. That's something that we share. So what? Yeah, what is that something that you do when you're feeling down, or you have it on all the time, or what? What's your?
Yeah, basically as much as I can listen to music, I will. I don't think I would have got where I am, or I'd be in the place I am, mentally, if it wasn't for music, because I think it sees you through your whole life. I think you need a passion for music, in whatever form. I think that's a common thing which people can share. It's one of the first questions asked to someone when I meet them is their music taste, and mine's so varied. My playlist can go from, I don't know, Frank Sinatra to Elvis to Slipknot to Green Day, to all sorts. And I think again, I got that a lot from my dad growing up. Listening to music in the car. He would always play, some old records and some really cool music. And I just grew up with good music, and I think he's to thank for that, really. Because just like me, he shares a massive passion for music, and we always like to share each other stuff and send each other bits and bobs that make us happy. And I like to share with other people what makes me happy, because if I've discovered something which I can relate to or I feel for, then I want other people to maybe have that emotion too,
Yeah, I know, because you've sent me quite a lot of stuff, which I really appreciate. I know there's loads of stuff that you've sent me, which is fantastic. So how come you didn't get your dad's sense of humour then?
Oh, I think you have to have kids to have that kind of sense of humour. You have to be a dad. I try, but he's just so good with it. He's so funny, and everyone loves that about him. I think he just likes to make people happy. He likes to keep people's spirits up, whether he's at work or in training, or around someone's house, or they're around his house. He just likes to try and have a laugh and keep spirits up, which is great. He's so natural at it, and so many, all the people I've met that have met Dad, sort of his age, they know him. I'm his son, obviously. Always tell me how much of a good sense of humor he's got, and how much they've made him laugh, and some funny stories about Dad, and there's all sorts out there. So he's a fantastic guy. I love him to bits.
Yes, bless him. So you said about training there, Sam. So how did you get? I know I've asked your dad this question. So how did you get involved in martial arts? Was it something you did before your dad, or with? I think you said your dad said that it was you and your mum and your dad went and did it all with Matt Fidesz, was it? I think.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I think when I was really young, which I can't remember, I think I must have been maybe 5. I did karate for a short stint, but I can't remember any of that at all. I just remember Dad telling me. And then we did, I think when I was about 10 or 12, we did a bit of taekwondo for a couple of years, but it was more of a brand of taekwondo, like you said, under Matt Fidesz, which isn't really as sort of, I don't know, not as proper in my eyes as the taekwondo you teach, but it was good. It was an introduction to it. It got my flexibility up, and an appreciation for martial arts. And then from there, we did kickboxing as a family when I was about 15 years old, under Phil Norman.
That's right.
Yeah, with Phil Norman, who is fantastic instructor, still is. Um, he owns Phoenix MMA. He does MMA training, kickboxing, and I think he's a black belt in, or a master in 8 or 9 different martial arts. And so he was a fantastic sort of introduction to kickboxing, especially. And then following on from that, did a grading with Trevor Ambrose, which was my first kickboxing grading, and still to this day is the hardest one I've done, because I was quite young, and it was absolutely brutal.
Well,
But it was fantastic.
those two people you mentioned, Trevor and Phil, are world class. World
Yeah,
class. I know
yeah,
Trevor's not around Bournemouth anymore. I think he's in
I,
Norway. Is it
yeah,
Norway or Sweden or in some Baltic country? But he's world class as a
yeah,
competitor. And Phil was world class as a competitor and is still world class as an instructor now. Don't see
right,
much of Trevor. And I mean, I don't really know them. I know of them and I've met them and they know me, but they're both world class. So yes, you've had a great upbringing. So
yeah,
so that brings me round then to one of the reasons why I respect you so much. In that, I think you touched on it there about your appreciation for other things.
yeah,
One of the things that we have obviously you're a kickboxer, so we have Mr. Shepherd, we have Miss Barron, we have Mrs. Endersby, but they really just kind of stay on the integrity kickboxing syllabus. And I know that you like to branch out and do other things. So can you explain that in what's your motivation to do that, and what sparks your interest?
um, a lot of it for me is if I see something I like, which I've gained something from, a bit like music in a way, something which I've had a response to, that I've enjoyed, that I've seen probably online or on the telly or something like that, something which I know I could gain or show interest in, then I like to try and maybe tailor that my own way into one of my own lessons, and then just see the response from it. I think personally, I like to teach the way I like to learn, and the way I like to learn is being quite interactive, sort of explaining techniques in further detail and how they can apply in certain areas of kickboxing. Not just you do that because you have to, or you do that because it's going to make you more powerful, or try and string things together in a way which connects the dots in your mind, so it helps you remember a bit more. And I think that's the way I've learned, myself, is if somebody's explained something, I go, okay, that's fine, I can see why you do that, but then they've gone on to explain it, why they're doing that and how that can be applied in the martial art as well.
Mm.
I think I learn more that way, and I like to teach how I learn.
Because one of your best mates, am I right in thinking, is a top class amateur boxer in the army? Is that right?
Yes, yeah, Jake, yeah, he boxes for the army,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
semi-pro. Yeah,
And he's taught you quite a lot about, and he's not pulled apart what you do, or what we do, but he said, oh well, we do it this way, and ours is like that, and ours is like this, which is brilliant, isn't it? Because it's not
yeah,
just stuck in that same old. It's
that's right.
going outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I think martial arts is like that though. I think it is open to interpretation, and I don't think a lot of martial arts would have got anywhere if they stayed sort of stale in and stayed in their lane. I think all sports, especially martial arts, evolves. I think you have to go with the times, and a lot more things now are sort of online and interactive, and I think they need to be, maybe a bit more sort of impressive to the eye, or to your mind. You need to be able to explain it a bit further. And I think getting outside influences like my friend Jake, just to explain a different angle of something that I'm doing or something he's showing me, and then I can compare it to what I know and what I think is best, and then explain that to a class, maybe. Sort of having different influences and then coming up with your own conclusions. I think that's important.
Well, make sure, Sam, that we hope that you're going to be around for many, 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 many years to come. So make sure you keep doing that, because that's really, really important. It's really important to me, as you say, that people don't become too stale. And I'm not saying that I'm stale or Mr. Shepherd or Miss Farron is stale. I'm not saying that at all. But it's just nice that someone's prepared to move the goalposts and change and adapt. So if you keep with it, young man. Okay. So what are your, bit of a horrible question, really. Well, because you might think, oh, I don't like that. But what are your strengths and weaknesses?
I'm a people's person, and I like being sociable with people. I like spending time with people, especially, which is why kickboxing is fantastic, because there is a social aspect to it. And I think because of that kind of translates maybe into my teaching. I like to be realistic, and I like to be identifiable as a person. I don't want to be some robot stood in front of someone barking orders, because especially coming from kitchens, I know what that's like, and I don't think people learn that way. Certain people do, but that's not the sort of way I'd want to teach. So I think I like to kind of relate to people a bit more than just doing that stuff. So I think I'm quite relatable, and I like to have a laugh, I like to have a joke, but I like to work hard as well. And I think people come to training to be taught and to work hard. And again, I want to teach the way I want to learn. So I want to make people work hard. I want people to get the best out of themselves they can, and kind of support them in that way. I think a weakness of mine is, and it always has been, is my confidence, through maybe anxiety or new things. But I think as I'm getting older and as I'm getting more practice, I'm sort of challenging that more head on, and sort of making myself do things. I think a lot of that has come from the chefing. My last job before the job I'm in now, I used to work for a street food company, and a lot of that was supper club work. So we'd be cooking in an open kitchen in front of a crowd of people, essentially, and talking them through different dishes and talking them through the process, and they'd be watching what we're doing and sort of putting on a show, sort of thing. And having done nothing like that before, when I was just sort of stuck in a kitchen in the background somewhere, was a big step for me, and I think that built my personal skills a little bit, and which I'm really thankful for, because that's thankfully translated into the kickboxing and the path into instructing. So but it's definitely been a massive confidence boost doing the instructing and stuff like that. But I just need to keep at it and keep challenging myself, and get out of the comfort zone. I think that's important for everyone to do.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was watching a video just before you came on, actually. I finished a couple of classes and I was watching one, and it's a common theme that instructors say is make sure if you're in your comfort zone, you're not learning anything. You're just stuck there. Yeah, you might be doing 100 press-ups, but if you can already do 100 press-ups, then do 200. Don't be just stayed in that same old routine.
Yeah, it's like Muhammad Ali said, you don't start counting until it hurts. I think you just need to do something, like they say, do something every day which scares you if you can. And that's how you grow.
So what's been your highlight so far in your martial art career, sir, would you say?
There's been a couple. I think a big highlight for me was the EMAP tournament, which I got gold in, which I was really happy, because the last tournament before that, it was quite a difficult one, but I really enjoyed that. And again, competition is a scary thing. I with you, I went to the Spartans gym in Chippenham, and as you know, that was pretty brutal. And I still kind of stepped up as much as my mind was telling me to run a mile. I still went in there and did it, and I thought that was a pretty proud moment for myself. But apart from that, last grading was really good. Um, I think a lot of it is, for me, I don't give myself enough praise. But whereas I see my dad do it, and I absolutely love it. You know, when I see my dad succeed, and you know, which is why I love to grade with him. I wouldn't grade without him. But I love to see him succeed and how that makes him feel. Um, and I like to see other people succeed in their own way, which is, you know, why I'm sort of drawn to the instructing as well, because you know, sometimes a little light bulb flicks in someone's head, or you know, something connects with them, some piece of the puzzle, you know, fits in nicely, and then they learn something and it tweaks with someone, and you know, I enjoy that process, you know.
Well, I mean, you said that. Oh, I don't think I should have introduced you when I introduced you as the person that's been Integrity Martial Arts best kickboxer for the past 2 years. So if that doesn't tell you how good you and not, you know, if I say and if I say to people, listen, you're really, really good, you're really good. Some people, it might go straight to their head. But with you, it's the complete opposite, which is great, which is what everyone loves about you, is they know how technically gifted you are. They know how brilliant and skillful you are, but they also know what a lovely guy you are, which is the whole package, isn't it? Because, and everyone that we've got, I think, is of that mold. You know, they're all nice people and very, very grounded.
So, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that sort of people draws other people in, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're so good as a martial arts group, you know, Taekwondo included, because everyone gets on so well. Everyone's got the same goals, you know. Nobody's, you know, big-headed, or nobody's in for it for themselves. You know, nobody takes themselves too seriously, which is great. I think that's what attracts people and keeps people there as well, you know.
So what goals do you have, sir?
I just want to expand with my instructing and being, you know, a full-time instructor, or making it into some sort of career, you know. That's ultimately my goal, and just see where that takes me, because you know, the chef in life is great, and I've done it for a while now, but I don't see myself doing it for another, you know, 30-40 years. So who knows, you know, I just want to do what I want to do, selfishly in a way. And
well, it's not selfish, Sam, is it? It's not selfish.
No.
You know, I know we've had a conversation before about following your dreams and all that. So that's not selfish. You know.
No, it's not.
No, it's something that you should endeavour to do. And maybe you should take some. I mean, I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs here at all, but maybe you should take your own advice in that, you know, step out of that comfort zone, because I know that's part of the reason that you don't take that step, because it would be uncomfortable. Oh my god, I've got to actually do it now.
Yeah.
But well, one day you will do it. I know you will.
Yeah, 100%.
And not only I know you'll do it, but I know you'll be really, really good at it.
Thank you very much.
You know, that's what I've said about Miss Farron. You and Miss Farron, if you two could get together, you could rule the world. Really.
Yeah. Oh, she's fantastic. She's great. We click really well, and we work really well. And I think, like I said to you before, I think that's part of the reason why people like to come to our classes, because, you know, we're people's person, and we invest in people, and they give it back. And I think people are comfortable with that sort of person. You know, we don't bark orders. We like to have fun, but we do take it seriously. I think we each have strengths and weaknesses, you know, which we sort of share with each other and bounce off each other. And yeah, we just really enjoy it, and we're passionate, you know. And she's fantastic. She's got amazing ability. She's got loads of knowledge, and really good energy, and people are so drawn to that, which is why I love working with her so much.
So if, and everyone feels really, really bad when I ask this question, but how can integrity improve? Obviously, you can't really speak about Taekwondo, but how can integrity kickboxing improve?
For me, I've you know, we've had a chat about this before. For me, it's got to be a premises. A premises for people to train at would be great. You mean full time? You mean a permanent Yeah, a permanent premises. Yeah, and I think from that there can just be expansion. You know, it can expand more on social media, more videos going out. You know, as you've seen, this whole sort of Zoom thing, you can do so much online as well. Even just having a resource of training videos for integrity members. Would be great. So people can kind of refer to that in their own time if they've got any sort of worries or questions about what they're doing. So yeah, maybe just more expansion online, and yeah, definitely a permanent venue would be fantastic. It'd be a dream come true.
Wow. And how are you keeping in this horrible time? You know, it's been like 5, 6. Well, it's been about when was it? I don't think I've seen you I saw you last night in the Zoom.
Yeah.
But I think it's been about 6 weeks since we've seen each other face to face. So how are you coping with it?
Yeah, it's all right. Still working. So I've been working since the start, and work's been tough. Work's been really tough because, as you've seen on the news, there's a rise in care home cases and deaths in care homes. So we're just trying to sort of do everything we can to stay safe. And it's not really about us in our work environment. It's about the residents. So we kind of course we protect ourselves and stuff like that, but it's all geared towards them to keep them safe more than us. So that's our job at the end of the day. So we're just working hard to keep things running. Yeah.
Brilliant, sir. Right. Thank you ever so much, Sam. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope everyone gets enlightenment. I think it's lovely to see, because how old are you? 24?
25.
25. To hear such words of wisdom from a young person is fantastic. So thank you very much for being who you are, and I sincerely hope that we get to see you in person ASAP. Okay. So
yeah, likewise. Yeah, I miss everyone.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Take care.